Hi everyone. Oh, frog in my throat. Good morning, Donna Lynn here. So I want to talk about how boundaries are like sharing a pool noodle with someone in rough water, like over your head, rough water, waves crashing, you're holding on for dear life. I'll explain, it'll make sense. So we often think of boundaries as really hard, firm lines. I'll talk in another video about the types of boundaries that I identify with really well and that resonate with me. So I'll set that aside for now. I will come back to it, but boundaries often are really viewed as, here's my hard line. There's no flex on that line, and it's my way or no way. And when I first started learning how to express my boundaries and stand by them, I very much did that. I very much was, it's this way or not at all, because that's how I needed to enforce a boundary in a way that was heard and eventually or potentially respected, because I wasn't comfortable with setting boundaries. So the comment I'll make about that is boundaries don't have to be super hard lines. They don't have to be my way or no way. They don't have to be inflexible and immovable. So with that being said, when you express a boundary to someone or a group of people, the intention is just so that what works well for you and what's okay for you is shared. So really, it's an opportunity to open discussion and say, okay, this is what works for me and is okay for me. What is it that works for you and is okay for you? So that's the idea of expressing a boundary. And so the reason a boundary could be so related to a pool noodle shared with someone else in deep water is that really the boundary is meant as a connecting device. So when you're learning to navigate relationships, or there's change in relationships, that can be related to the rough water. Things are changing, things are uneasy. It's a little tumultuous, maybe it's a little rocky, it's feeling a little uncomfortable. You might be in over your head. So you're holding on to one end of that pool noodle. The other person's holding on to the other end of that pool noodle, and you're both in that deep water together. The waves are crashing on each of you. So if I have that firm boundary, that hard line, and I pull that noodle back to me and say, no, this is my hard line, and I don't use it as a connecting rod, as a conversation opener, as a way to enhance and enrich my relationship with that person, it's not being utilized as how I intend it to be. I won't get the desired effect or outcome from that. So if I extend that pool noodle and I hold on to one end and the other person's holding on to the other end, it's actually our connecting rod. And it's keeping both of our heads above water. We're able to work together and use this one connecting rod, this one communication tool, this one device as a means of connection and a way to support and uphold both of us at the same time. See what I'm saying? So the pool noodle is your connecting rod. It's what's keeping both of your heads above water. So if the other person does the same thing, yanks that pool noodle from me and says, this is the way it is, it's my way or no way, I'm left struggling in water that's over my head and crashing onto me. But if they extend that pool noodle to me and they say, this is where I'm at, hang on to the other end of that. It doesn't have to be perfect, but at least both of our heads are above water, and we're going to find a way to work together to get to shallower or more gentle water, less rough water. So boundaries can be related to pool noodles. Challenges can be related to rough waters that are over your head, hard to navigate, however you want to coin it. So I encourage you, when you're thinking about boundaries or setting them, to consider the analogy of the pool noodle. And maybe your intentions are the other person's intentions of why you're setting those boundaries. Is it that hard line? Sometimes those hard lines are necessary. I'm definitely not saying they aren't. Like I said, I'll touch on types of boundaries in another video. But, you know, maybe sit with, okay, why is this okay for me? Why isn't this okay for me? When I express that, is my intention to enhance and enrich this relationship so it can continue in a better, more healthy and supportive way for everyone involved? Or is it a boundary I need to set that is firm and hard and there's no flex on it, because they are necessary? Or maybe, you know, it's an old boundary, an old belief that you've held that once served you that no longer does. Those things exist in our worlds too. We have a tendency to find ways to keep ourselves safe and supported, and boundaries come right along with those in a necessary way. So all that being said, boundaries, pool noodles, and some food for thought. I hope you all have an absolutely beautiful day. I will talk to you soon.